Hey everybody, sorry I'm a couple of minutes late. Hope you're all really well. Got my new dress on. It doesn't really work on Facebook or Instagram. It's a bit sort of stripy, but whatever. So today, on Tuesdays, I wake up and I have a team meeting. We have a team meeting on Tuesdays. We probably should have them on Mondays, but we have them on Tuesdays, and I'm quite fine with that. So whenever I then sit down to do the chanting, my head's all buzzing. For those of you who join me on chanting, hello. My head's all buzzing and crazy, and I kind of go through the process of sort of releasing and just doing the chanting. And then I come on here. But quite often, normally I sit down and have a good think about what I'm going to say. And quite often on a Tuesday, I haven't had a moment because I wake up, I get myself ready, I have the meeting, the team meeting, I do the chanting, and then bang, it's 11:11 and here I am. So the fact is, I didn't really plan what I was going to say today, and I haven't got a plan. So I thought I would do something that may be a little bit of a bad idea. I don't know. But I thought I'd tell you about something that happened yesterday. And it happened on Facebook. And it kind of sort of upset me at the time. And then I wrote a blog about it, which I actually published, but I don't know if I should have published. And now I'm going to talk about it, and I don't know if I should be talking about it. I probably need, to have some clever marketing person tell me about whether or not I should be discussing such things. I think there's probably a strong argument to say that, you should go through these things and you should, delete, block and move on, and then not talk about it. But you know me, no. I was going to say no filter. Don't know if that's true or not, but not the world's greatest filter. So I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to address this thing head on. So for those of you who don't know, I created a mini Venus retrograde course. Now, Venus retrograde happens only every 18 months, and I created this 2 Venus retrogrades ago, and it was just sitting in my computer. I did something with it at the time, and then I forgot about it, so I put it back on. And yesterday I put on Facebook about this course being available and about how it can help people reunite with an ex, amongst other things. It can help you make up a friendship. And this girl, whose name I can't remember, but whose photo, she can't watch this because I was so upset I deleted and blocked her on the spot. She basically accused me of scamming. And I was like, oh, how dare you? And her picture, by the way, was her doing yoga in some exotic location. So, she's kind of, for me, anyone who does yoga is kind of on the same page as me, because yoga, it's like meditation, it's like chanting, it just opens you up to the divine. So, she's a yoga girl, which for me is a high recommendation. And she was like, this is such a scam. I can't believe it's legal for people to do things like this. And I was like, oh my God. And I think, I saw yesterday when I blocked her, admittedly I'd only had 5 hours sleep the night before, so I may have been slightly more oversensitive. Plus I think everybody was really emotional yesterday. I don't know why. And I'm not asking for sympathy, okay? I'm really not. What I want to say here is, I get so many emails from people saying things like, I signed up for this free thing on your site by some random psychic, and now they're harassing me with emails. Well, for a start, I don't have any ads on my site. So normally if that's happened, what it means is it's usually someone in Australia who's read my horoscopes on Yahoo Australia, where they appear every day. And then there'll be an ad for some random psychic on the Yahoo pages. And obviously, it's very hard. We tried running ads at one point. But it's very hard to control who signs up for ads, and you can get some unscrupulous people who are probably not even astrologers or psychics, by the way. They're just, you know, random dudes in some town somewhere in a basement creating ads with a fake persona, pretending to be psychic or astrology experts or whatever. Anyway, so I'll get an email from someone going, I signed up for the free newsletters from blah-de-blah on your site, and now they're harassing me and they're telling me if I don't buy their report, something terrible is going to happen, and that this is a terrible thing, and, you know, blah, 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 blah. And it's always like, no, do not believe these people. Like, anybody who makes you scared like that is a fake. Long and the short of it. You cannot have integrity as an astrologer or a psychic medium and then go out and scare people. Because if you have any integrity whatsoever as a psychic or an astrologer, amongst other things, you know that life is not written in stone. I mean, as an astrologer, I know that every single thing that happens, astrologically speaking, I mean, even if Saturn rolls over your Venus at the same time as there's an eclipse on your sun, you know, which sounds pretty intense, you know, it can be difficult to manage at the time, but it can actually be the best thing that ever happened to you. And I say that from experience, because I actually did once have Saturn on my Venus and an eclipse on my sun all at the same time. And it was probably the most difficult period of my entire life. I basically spent it you know, self-medicating with sparkling burgundy in a room with the curtains closed for about a month, only leaving to go out and buy cigarettes because I was smoking at the time. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because basically I got out of an abusive relationship at that time. You know, and so people who know what they're talking about with astrology and who've got any integrity whatsoever, and the same with psychics, they know that every cloud has a silver lining. Everything happens for a reason, and even the most difficult astrology can be used for good and can be used for your benefit. So to be grouped in with these, so basically what I said, if you, I mean, I would love you to do the course. I would love everybody to do the course. It's an amazing, amazing course, and if I have time today, I'll tell you why I know it's amazing. But let me just address this issue right now, first of all. So this girl goes, oh, you're a scammer, you shouldn't be allowed to write this kind of stuff. And it really took me aback, because if there's one thing I am not, it's a scammer. I am so careful about having integrity in all the things that I do. And especially when it comes to astrology, you know, I never want to like trick anyone or manipulate or take advantage. Now, all that said, I know that out in the world, there is a big market for people who want to get their ex back. You know, there are just a lot of people out there who've broken up with someone and they really miss them and they really want them back, okay? And, you know, when you look at all these scammers out there who will say, I'll send you a love potion. I mean, I assume they're scammers. I don't really believe in love potions, but then I didn't used to really believe in gemstones as a remedy for astrology, and now I kind of am coming around to the idea it's something they do in Vedic astrology. But you know, there's all these people, pay me £10 or pay me $100 and I'll send you a potion and a spell to get your ex back. Now, I don't agree with that, you know, because if for no other reason, you cannot manipulate people. You must not manipulate people. You know, if you try and manipulate someone, if you try and put a spell on someone to get them back, it's going to rebound on you at least 3 times. It's bad juju and it's bad karma. So this girl basically saw my, the thing I'd written, something I'd written about this course, which there is a link to in the Facebook description. I'll give you the address for Instagram later. And I'm so happy with the free offering and with the course itself. Now, I said, one of the things I said, one of the claims I've made about this course is that it can help, Venus retrograde can help reunite people. Now, I would challenge any astrologer to disagree with me, and I don't think any would, because Venus is the planet of love and relationships and relating to people, okay? And when a planet retrogrades, you go back to the past. And that's why I've actually had, I would say, a dozen or maybe 20 emails from people in the last 2 or 3 days, or messages saying, oh my God, my ex just got back with me. You know, or my ex just got back in touch with me, or I've been thinking about my ex, or I was dreaming about my ex, and they're getting it. They're understanding. Venus retrograde is when we can go back to the past and reevaluate things and think, oh, right, maybe I actually love that person more than I realize. And a really big thing with Venus retrograde is it's about reevaluation of what really matters, okay? And so what I've done in the mini course is I've actually given various techniques to break with the past, get into the future, and then get into the present and create the future. And the idea is that if you reevaluate, you know, sometimes what will happen if you start to think, well, you know, what really matters to me, you'll start to realize that maybe, you know, for example, if you're in a current relationship, maybe you're taking your partner for granted, you know, and that's one of the things as well that can happen with Venus retrograde is you start to see where you have been taking people for granted, and it can happen with exes. So I would just like to say, I 100% stand by my claim, if you like, that if you are really pining for your ex, Venus retrograde is a really, really good time to do energetic work, to clear yourself out and to send love to your ex. And it can be a time of reconciliation. Now, obviously not everyone wants to get back with their ex, but it can be a time where you can reconnect on a heart level with someone from the past. I mean, basically Venus retrograde, amongst other things, says reconnecting with someone you love from the past. Now, it can be getting back in touch with someone you haven't seen. Maybe this Venus retrograde will actually, now I think of it, I've just literally thought of this now, but of course this Venus retrograde is going to be a lot of people reconnecting with people they haven't seen for weeks or months because of the lockdown. Okay, so Venus will be us, a lot of us will be people getting back in touch with people we love post the lockdown, because now, you know, all the countries around the world seem to be slowly but surely coming out of it. But it can be exes as well. It's not a false claim, it's a true claim. So if you really want to get back with your ex, now's the time to do the energetic work. And I'm telling you, if you do my course, which by the way, there's a free part for you to sort of have a taster, it is not about manipulating. You will not be casting any spells. You will not be sending, you know, vibes to control someone. I would never suggest that, because that is actually really bad. It would create bad luck for you. And of course, I'm not going to suggest that. And I also want to say, if you've fallen out with someone, a friend, it's a really good time to make up with a friend as well. Okay, so you go and you do the energetic work that I explain, you know, in the free videos and then more deeply in the actual course itself. And in the free videos, you will hear a little story of what happened to me when I was recording the course. And it was honestly magical, you know, because what I'm talking about here is I'm talking about love relationships. I'm talking about relationships that are about your heart. I'm not talking about ego-based relationships. I'm not talking about, you know, the boyfriend who's the real, you know, cool player dude who's dating 5 girls at once and checking Tinder when he goes to the bathroom on your date. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about love relationships where you are connected with someone from the heart, not from the ego. And if you've lost someone, if you've fallen out with someone, if you've broken up with someone, you know, and there's someone that you love, it could even be a family member. It doesn't have to be your ex-boyfriend or your ex-girlfriend or your ex-best friend that you fell out with. It can be, you know, if you've been having strained relationships with your mother or your father or your siblings. Venus retrograde is really a time to live really consciously and think, okay, who's my heart connection broken with that I want to reconnect with? So I would highly recommend my you take the free course. It's free. We've already had 1,000 people sign up for it in like about 36 hours. Okay, it's free. It's 3 parts, and it will give you a taster of what is Venus retrograde, how to tell what Venus retrograde means for you. You actually will get a little Excel spreadsheet that will help you work out where Venus is retrograde for you for the next 25 years. And then the third video is actually my little Venus retrograde story. In a way, I wanted to put that in there because it was so extraordinary, but also because it gives you a good idea of how this stuff actually works, despite, you know, the mean girl calling me a scammer. So there you go. That's my rant for the day. If you want to do the Venus retrograde free course, let me tell you how to find it. It's moonmessages.com/VenusRx. RX is shorthand for retrograde. And there's a link on the Facebook post, and Instagram, I'm afraid you're going to have to just use your thumbs. moonmessages.com/VenusRx. So I'm going to finish with a card, because I know everybody loves a card and I don't want to shortchange anyone by having ranted at you, but I was like, that really upset me. Like, and I really am not asking for sympathy. I'm really not. I just wanted to say, you know what, girlfriend, you are wrong. You obviously don't know anything about astrology, you know, even though you do yoga, and I admire anyone who does yoga. I do a little bit of yoga and wish I did way more yoga. Venus retrograde is truly a time to reconnect with people from your past, whether it's an ex-lover, an ex-friend, you know, or a family member there's been some rift with. So there you go. I will look forward to reading your comments. And now, who would like a card? Let's think, what do I need to know about love? What do I need to know about the Venus retrograde cycle? The Venus retrograde cycle, by the way, starts tomorrow. Venus will be retrograde for 40 days approximately, and then will not be retrograde again for another 1.5 years. So if you want to do your getting back to love, I've actually called the course Get Back to Love, because it's like getting back to love, opening your heart to love. It's actually also useful for people who've had a very bad relationship and have become too scared to have any more relationships, who've basically closed themselves off. All right, so I'm going to do the card. What do we know for the, what do we need to know for the Venus retrograde cycle? Oh my God, you can't believe what we've got. You won't believe what we've got. If I did word association with you and I said goddess, Venus, goddess, who would you say? Venus, Aphrodite. That's extraordinary. That's giving me goosebumps. I mean, to me, that's an affirmation of Venus, Aphrodite, the goddess of love, saying, yes, Yasmin, it's okay. Just ignore the haters, you know, ignore the trolls. Venus, Aphrodite has turned up for us. That's extraordinary. I'm going to read from the book. Amazing. I mean, Aphrodite is Venus, Aphrodite. What have I been talking about for the last 20 minutes? Venus. That's an extraordinary affirmation. Okay, thank you, Venus, and thank you, Aphrodite. Right, okay. All right, so interesting. Allow your inner feminine wisdom and dynamic beauty to rise to the surface. Cherish its power and meaningfulness. No matter whether your physical body is male or female, you have inner femininity that nurtures you, guides you. Now is the time to become aware of and take excellent care of your magnificence. So that's a beautiful message from Venus, and it's actually also a good message for Venus retrograde as well, because, you know, if you have been neglecting yourself, especially in lockdown, Venus retrograde, Venus is also, I said, it's Venus is love and relating. It's also beauty. It's all things feminine and soft and beautiful and lovely. And so it can be a time where we get back on track with our beauty routines. And in fact, I was thinking this morning, I almost wanted to get on here this morning and say, put your hand up if you really want to go to the hairdresser, because You know, like, it's just all getting a bit too much, isn't it? Just, you know, trying to do your own hair and your own makeup and make yourself look reasonable every day. So there we go. I mean, but that is one of the most lovely affirmations that I could have got. Venus turning up, Venus Aphrodite herself turning up to be with us today. What else does it say? Balance your male energy with more female energy. And I actually think for me, like what you've got for me this morning has actually been quite male energy. It's been me ranting. So for me, it's a message to, you know, get back into balance and not let this thing put me off. Dance more often. And oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. For the Venus retrograde cycle, in relationships, allow your softer side to come forward. So I think that's a really good message for us all for Venus retrograde. What should we do from Aphrodite, Venus Aphrodite herself, in relationships, allow our softer side to come forward. So maybe I should go and unblock that girl now that I've had my rant. I've only ever blocked about 3 people in how many years we've been on Facebook. Is it 15 years or something? So that's it for today. Thank you for listening. Do the course. moonmessages.com/VenusRx. It'll, whether you're single or attached, you want to get up back with your ex, you want to mend a broken friendship, you just want to open your heart post a difficult love affair or a period of loneliness, Venus retrograde has so much going for it. Yes, it can be tricky, like Mercury retrograde, but overall it's a really good time to fall back in love with love and fall back in love with relating. So on that note, I'm going to say see you tomorrow, and I'm going to read all your messages. Lots of love.